warm good afternoon to each one of you. As he's already introduced me, I'm Vinita Sahay. I work for IIM Bodhgaya. And today when I was invited for this event, I was kind of wondering what would be my role. And since morning I've been hearing such illustrious people talking about Bihar, talking about legacy, talking about history. And allow me, in case I'm not as well informed as these people were, allow me if I have little different outlook towards all that which I see today. जब आदिति जी ने बुलाया तो मैंने बोला मैं जनरली नहीं जाती हूँ और सॉरी आज एकदम because see I believe I don't know how many of you would agree मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हमारी generation is very high on integrity contrary to what we keep hearing from generally people. And I think especially those who are a little senior to me, they will feel, no, that's not true. They may feel so, but I'm talking research. And when we say integrity, integrity is basically unity of thought, words, and deeds. And I feel absolutely very proud of the fact that the current generation is definitely much higher on integrity. And there are reasons for it. Because in so many ways, what we think is what we say, and what we say is what we do. And with whatever little capacity that I had, I think the reason which I could identify with that was because the generation which was there before me, they grew up in an India just post-independence. India which was all about famines, all about poverty, all about 700 years of rule, foreign rule, which was very exploitative. India which was not at its best. So, researchers say that the Jack generation grew up in what is called as scarcity mindset. कम है, sorry, अगर मैं आपसे सबसे पूछूं, क्योंकि ज़्यादातर लोग मेरी उम्र के लग रहे हैं मुझे सीनियर लोग, 50 प्लस को मैं सीनियर ही कह सकते हैं. हम लोगों के स्कूल जाते वक्त हमारे पेंसिल बॉक्स में कितनी पेंसिल होती थी? हम लोगों को साल में कितनी बार बस्ता बदल के मिलता था? आप में से कितने लोगों ने पेंसिल, मैं तो बहुत बड़ी लेके बैठी हुई थी वहां पे, पेंसिल को छोटा इतना छोटा और फिर उसके पीछे लगा हुआ ढक्कन. I remember when I was a kid, my mother had 3 children, so she actually used to give us tuck after breaking one. And I was the daughter of a gazetted officer, I knew. So that was that generation. And it's not that they didn't want to give, it's just that that was it. That was the availability. Things were scarce. इसलिए देखिए, and you know, we all know that the music, the literature, the cinema, the theatre is a reflection of society. I don't know how many of you would have seen Mother India. I have seen it. How would you rate that movie? Right? How do you feel after that? It's really heavy. देख के टेंशन हो जाती है. When you see a mother dying, a mother holding a dying child, can't do anything about it. There's so much of poverty. There's so much of helplessness. So media was all about that. Movies was all about that. Kala Bazari, Do Biga Zameen. Every movie, see who were the heroes. And have you ever noticed the heroines were tragedy queens, and so-called the Jubilee Kumar used to weep in every movie. आपने राजेंद्र कुमार की हर पिक्चर में उसे रोते हुए देखा है ना? and he was Jubilee Kumar. आप देखिए, movie names are entertainment. Movies are talking different. I'm not judging them. It's just that I'm saying there is a school of thought of scarcity where the entire generation grew on, कम है, खत्म हो जाएगा, संभाल लो, बांटो मत, या कम है, basically कम है. So सड़कें कम थी, सब सामान कम था, everything was less, and we grew up on that, and we went on. Since we always having feeling that yes, we do not have enough, so we were little cagey in terms of sharing. Now, mind you, you may again say so, no, that's not correct, sorry. Look at the income tax figures. Current generation, like I live with youngsters, day in, day out. They very clearly say to their child, come on, tax, TDS kato, bachada nahi chahiye. 35% straight deducted here. No under the table, over the table. Give me my salary all in one to the account. I'll pay 35% taxes. Have you seen? This situation has changed. And that's new India. And that's hopeful India. That's vibrant India. 67% of the population belongs to the age group of 17 to 35. When you grew up, when everything that we heard, नेता अभिनेता सबसे सिर्फ हमने एक ही बात सुनी थी, देश की सारी समस्याओं की जड़ क्या है? जनसंख्या. और आज इस देश का अगर कोई भविष्य है तो वो है जनसंख्या. If we have one thing which is going for us, is this youthful population, this vibrant population. And I was very thankful to that gentleman sitting all the way in Madagascar, and he said, I don't see anything wrong because I see youthful India. I feel exactly the same. I feel all that is correct. And you know, it's not that I didn't work out. Last night around 11 when I came back from my office, which we generally do, I was kind of wondering that I have committed time with GTRI. And I think I must put my thoughts together. So as always, we as management professionals, I put down a report. I started reading it. So some parts I found in his speech, the gentleman who was speaking before me, he had talked all that which I had kind of collected as report. That okay, Bihar, it comes from the word Bihar, which means monasteries. 3 of the world's most reflective religions have base here: Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism, and of course a large part of Hinduism as well. We all have been talking since morning that we've been Vishnu Gurus, and yeah, why I started on integrity, because I actually wanted to tell him right clear that today I came for VC of Nalanda. So I would like Professor Abhay, I'm told he's representing, ma'am, you're the one, sorry. To tell her that it has been 3 years that I've been wanting to meet her. Because I see this as new India. See, why? Because it is not by chance that 2 of the most progressive institutions in the state are being led by women. And we wear it with a lot of pride, we wear it with a lot of responsibility. We wear it with a lot of responsibility. So I actually thought, okay, Saturday, before I catch a flight, let me make it a time to meet her. And it will be such a heartful journey because she's exactly facing what I'm facing. It's a difficult terrain. It's a very, very difficult terrain. But that being aside, so coming back to my notes, so yes, I learned about Magad, Mithila and Bhojpur. I learned about, these were the centers of power, learning in culture. I learned about Chandragupta Maurya, we learned about Kautilya and his Arthashastra. We've been learning about Ashoka the Great and how he had spread the Buddhism across the globe, especially the Southeast Asian countries. We learned that the best time was Buddha dynasty and of course Chandragupta Maurya. We learned that that was the time, it was astronomy, astrophysics, Sanskrit, zero came from here. We learned Varamiriha gave breath sector. We learned that, okay, there was so much of Panchatantra, Kama Sutra, and the list goes on. We learned that then came the invaders. And of course, GTI, Grand Trunk Road, given by one such invader, Sheshasuri. All the way from Calcutta to Peshawar. And we must admit that possibly we could never do it again. And we continue to reap the benefits. We learned then came the Nawabs, especially Bengal, and then came the Britishers. And then came the divine rule, and then came the massive zamindari system, the ills of faith, exploitative offshoots of that, poverty, hunger, discrimination based on caste and creed. In between there were bright stars like Champaran, in between there were bright stars like Quit India. Then of course when I learned more about Bihar, and let me tell you, I'm not a daughter of Bihar, so I had to actually learn it, though I'm an Indian, but I'm a very proud Bahu of Bihar. So इसलिए कई बार मैं अपने आप को चैलेंज करती हूँ कि अगर मैं बेटी होती तो क्या मैं यहाँ तक पहुँचती? इसलिए और ज़्यादा लगता है कि अच्छा अभी बहू हूँ तो ठीक है, बहू की तो जिम्मेदारी और ज़्यादा होती है। और ये तो घर है, अब तो इसको बनाना है। हमेशा ऐसी सी फीलिंग रहती है। Anyhow, not that कि नहीं बना हुआ है।
We should give her a clap.
We are in management, so हम डेटा पे काम करते हैं. But I think पिछले 3 साल में कितने ही बिहारी बच्चों को, बिहारी बेटों को मैंने बहुत सुनाई है खरी खोटी, क्योंकि बहुत सक्सेसफुल हैं सब जगह. जब मैं CEO की लिस्ट देखती हूँ तो इतने सारे हैं, दर्जनों तो ब्यूरोक्रेसी में मेरे फ्रेंड्स हैं, नासा से लेकर के कहाँ तक. और मैं बोलती हूँ कि बस साल में एक ही बार याद आती है माँ की, वो गंगा मैया, वो छठी मैया, इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं होता. वो annual trip to Bihar and all that nostalgia. See, because it's very, very deep rooted. I've never seen people going so weak in their knees, thinking about their motherland the way the Bihari does. In last few years, we've seen how every city now has Chhat Ghats, all the way up to California. And this is nothing but a testimony to that love and the respect and that value that they feel. But where are they? Is it just the annual trip back home? But then that's the way I try to kind of look up for support, because that's very critical. Because I think collectively everything is possible. Now of course, this deeply embedded stereotype, this tenaciously embedded stereotype that we all carry, that Bihar is the B of Bimaru. We all grew up on that. Bimaru states and the capital B is Bihar. But sorry, figures have changed. Yes, there was a very bad time between 90 to 2005. And I keep telling people, oh, you get served what you deserve. Sorry, I'm being very brash. You get served what you deserve. So if for 15 years you tolerated it, well, you deserved it. But I'm so sure things did change for a while, and as the figure says, that there was a time in 2015 growth rate was in double digits, 10.3, when the national average was 7. And even now, whatever that it is, it's very resilient, it's very sustainable, I must say. But still the data says with 3% of the land mass, you have 9% of population. We have 9% of population. And while the average density of the country is about 382, Bihar has 1,102, 3 times at least. I also look into a lot of data about GDPs and state GDP. It does talk about the lowest per capita income of Bihar, which is 46,674 as per 1920 data. 33.73 population living in poverty. Overall literacy for the country is 77.7, while for Bihar it is 70.9, making it the third worst performance. Some data is there also about the recent developments, also about the FDI inflow, which is just about $168 million in 2019-20. Some schemes which are there. And I am from Bodhgaya, so I keep looking at that tourism is being promoted, a lot of efforts are being made. And then of course I was kind of very interested in what are the reasons for such a slow growth. And I keep hearing from people as well, कि अरे हमारा तो झारखंड चला गया. And with that went all the mines and all the natural resources. And rivers usually are happy streams, but आपकी तो नदी को भी river of sorrow कहते हैं. And I think I'm going to tell you, and I have an appointment with the Executive Director of National Institute of Disaster Management, because I sometimes wonder, why do I hear disaster year on year on year on year? Why is it we could never fix it up? So let me see if something we can make contribution. So I keep hearing that there's so much of over-reliance on agriculture, so much so the population, 85% of farmers are owning less than a hectare, and still almost 75% of workers are working there. All those figures, and then of course last but not the least, overwhelming dependent on the central grants. I was very shocked to see 2015-16, after implementation of 14th Finance Commission, states share of divisible pool by 10% to 42%. They constitute about 71% of the Bihar's total revenue. Imagine. So, divisible pool of central taxes and your own taxes, 75%. What are we talking? फिर इसको मैंने सोचा ऐसे करके रख देते हैं, ये अच्छा नहीं है, बिकॉज इसमें से या तो बातें सारी पास्ट की है, था कोई ग्लोरी, या थोड़ी खराब ही है. और देन I came in the morning, I started dutifully, though GTR is very kind enough to allow me कि आप हमें एक दिन पहले आ जाइए, stay here. I said no, I teach management, I have to look into optimum utilization of resources. Dutifully I started at 6:15, and you all saw when I entered. And all these data wasn't needed for all this. Do I really need to look in there as to what are the poverty details? Because every road, I'm talking about two biggest cities in the state, Gaya and Patna, and I'm talking about a highway between that, highway if we can call it. Highway if we can call it. And well, we talk of malnutrition. The roads are right from the center of the city, so you can actually see children on the road. So what development index we're talking about? You can see those malnourished children on the road. वो मसौड़ी में जब एक वो क्या हर बार वो you have to face it, आपको बताना पड़ता है कि इलिटरेसी है, जब नाक से नाक लगा करके लोग दोनों तरफ से खड़े होते हैं और वेट कर रहे होते हैं कि ट्रैफिक अपने आप कुछ मैजिक से चलेगा. दिखता है. You don't have to go into the literacy details. But even that shouldn't be bothering us. Because there's one detail which the ambassador sitting right there in Madagascar is talking about, and which is where I started my conversation about. If the entire country has 382 people per square meter, we have 1,000, or rather 1,102. That's it. That's our source. When we see them working so hard for NASA, में गया में हमको ढूंढ रहे थे घर. ऐसा नहीं मुझे बहुत अच्छा घर चाहिए था, बट मुझे घर ही नहीं मिला. Sorry to say, अब पिछले 2-3 साल में बने हैं, क्योंकि बुजुर्ग लोग रहते हैं और उन सब के बच्चे बाहर जा चुके हैं. और earlier for different reasons they were not investing in their homes. they were not keeping it up to the mark. They had different reasons, I don't want to talk about it. And now the reasons they give is, why should we invest? Because we know that the children are not going to come back, so why should we invest in this house? हम बुढ़े बुढ़ियों के लिए ठीक ही है, is what I used to keep hearing. I said, oh, है कुछ struggle वगैरह करके 1300 स्क्वायर फीट का एक छोटा सा फ्लैट मिला, जिसको हम सेफ कह सकते हैं बिहार में. और जर्नी शुरू हुई. बड़ी मजेदार जर्नी है, रोलर कोस्टर है. कल मैं अपने स्टूडेंट से बात कर रही थी. आई सेड यस, आई एम वेरी करेजियस, बट डर हमें भी लगता है. मुझे आज भी याद है जब मेरी पहली शीशा टूटा गाड़ी का, तो टिपिकल सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट सीनियर ऑफिसर एरोगेंस, क्या कर रहे हैं आप. फिर दूसरा टूटा, फिर तीसरा टूटा, फिर चौथा टूटा, फिर पांचवा भी टूट गया. ही वाज राइट देयर एंड आई रिमेंबर आई सेड, भैया क्या कर रहे हो? वाज माय एक्सप्रेशन. I was scared. When first time I landed up in Bihar, I had a 9:30 landing at Patna, and I had to go to Gaya. And I usually don't tell my family members that I'm doing all this adventure. And I said, okay, no, I can't wait here in hotel. I'll go home. So 9:30, and it was still February, March. And mind you, this was just after Women Empowerment Day, Women's Day, 8th March. बड़े सारे भाषण दिए विमेन एम्पावरमेंट को लेकर. और शाम को जब मैं जा रही थी, 9:30 बजे जब घर गया की तरफ निकले, 11-12 व्हाट वी कॉल इट बारात, 11-12 बारात मैंने क्रॉस करी. मुझे कई बार पब्लिकली वॉर्न किया गया, मैम आप बहुत बोलती हो, प्लीज किसी पब्लिक प्लेटफॉर्म पे मत बोलिएगा. तो इसलिए मैं नहीं बताऊंगी मैंने क्या देखा. बट मेरे विमेन एम्पावरमेंट के सारे फंडे ठीक हो गए. मेरे को डिसाइड कर लिया कि नहीं, मेरी बेटी यहाँ बड़ी नहीं होगी. और हम लोगों को सबको जिम्मेदारी लेनी होगी. मैं आज उस इवेंट को नहीं डिस्क्राइब करूंगी, बिकॉज आप लोग कहते हो ना कि नहीं इंटेग्रिटी, हम इंटेग्रिटी वाले हैं. सॉरी, इंटेग्रिटी का मतलब हमारा ये है कि जो हम महसूस करते हैं ना, हम कह देते हैं. मुझे बहुत वॉर्न किया जाता है, मत कहा करिए मैम. चलिए, तो इसलिए डिस्क्रिप्शन नहीं दूंगी, और इसलिए वो राइड ही नहीं करूंगी, बस वेट कर रही हूँ. जब मैंने ज्वाइन किया था IIM बोधगया में, एक लड़की थी. वो एक लड़की को रोकने के लिए मुझे क्या करना पड़ा था मुझे याद है, क्योंकि उससे पिछले बैच में एक भी नहीं थी. आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर, उत्तराखंड के पेरेंट्स थे उसके. और नेचुरली आप इमेजिन कीजिए, अगर आपकी बेटी ऑल बॉयज हॉस्टल में जाके रहे अकेले, सो यू विल हैव ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ कंसर्न्स, नो. So that mother came to me, no ma'am, I'm taking. See, I remember, ऐसे फॉर्म भर रहे थे. See, CAT क्रैक किया था बच्ची ने. CAT, the most difficult exam in the world. Most difficult exam. 2.5 लाख बच्चा लिखता है, और 1% टाइम में सारा खेल खत्म हो जाता है. They represent the cream of the country. उस लड़की की माँ फॉर्म भरते भरते उठ के खड़ी हुई, नहीं हम नहीं छोड़ेंगे, हम नहीं छोड़ेंगे. I still remember. I said, ma'am, and we know, though we are an IIM, but we know how we were initially. We used to operate after 2 rooms. I told her, that mother, ma'am, if your daughter is not comfortable in that boys' hostel, though my boys are very different and we are very different people, take this number, you are on my hotline. No matter what, I'll pick up your phone. Come what may. And I have one office which has an attached toilet. I'll give this office to your daughter as a hostel. पोस्टर लगाने से बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ बेटी नहीं पढ़ती है, बेटी को आगे बढ़ा के पढ़ाना पड़ता है. 1 से 3 हुई, और मैजिक मुझे तब अच्छा लगा जब 3 से 66 हुई. आज मेरे बैच में 66 इसलिए बुराई नहीं करनी है, पर आंख भी तो नहीं बंद करनी है. पास्ट ग्लोरी में भी तो नहीं रहना है. कब तक ये कहते रहेंगे नालंदा था, अब नालंदा बनाना है. और कितने मेहनत से बना रहे होंगे हम लोग, बिकॉज मुझे पता है यहाँ पे बनाना बहुत मुश्किल है. और क्यों नहीं बनाएं? एक ही तो चीज है बॉस. We only have one thing, mines and gun, rivers are rooms. Only thing we have is humans, and plenty of them. And socio-economic, cultural, every fiber जैसे मैं अभी आपसे कह रही थी, गया में जब मैं घूमती थी, सिर्फ एक तरह की दुकान दिखती है गया में, किताबों की दुकान, कोचिंग की दुकान। मेरी बेटी के स्कूल में स्कूल बस नहीं थी। I being working mother, I really wanted कि स्कूल बस होना चाहिए ना, क्यों नहीं थी? ऐसा नहीं, क्योंकि हर पेरेंट अपने बच्चे को स्कूल छोड़ने जाता है, किडनी बेचने को तैयार रहते हैं लोग अपनी बच्चों की पढ़ाई के लिए। हेलीकॉप्टर पेरेंटिंग करते हैं फॉर एवरी मदर, ऑब्सेस्ड लेवल तक पेरेंटिंग होती है when it comes to education. This is all the infrastructure which needs to be there. I was at Raipur, that was not the priority of education there. Chhattisgarh doesn't have it. They may have some other things. We have only one thing. We have lots and lots of promising children who are young. We have parents who are dying to make them learn. And what is needed is good, robust educational infrastructure. All that we should concentrate on. See, why should we even talk about something which is not our competitive advantage? Why should we even talk about it? We only have one competitive advantage. I teach in Denmark, the world's happiest country in the world. You know, वहाँ पे negative population growth rate है. एक दिन एक लड़की रोज लेट आती थी, एक दिन मैंने पकड़ के पूछ लिया, and mind you, Denmark, their biggest value is punctuality. And there was one girl who was coming late every day in my class, and I asked her, why are you coming late every day? And she said, ma'am, you know, those are high tax countries, 56% taxation, but robust social security. So she told me, ma'am, all this free education that we get from the government, we have to do a lot of volunteering. So I go and work in age-old homes, and on a weekly basis, I look after about 22 elderly people. Now this figure, all of a sudden, government has shifted it to 32, because there are not too many young people available. So I'm the only person those people get to see in the entire week. So, you know, they usually do everything. They pick them up, wash them, clean them, shave them, you know, change the linen, do room for them. And then she says, when I'm about to go, you know, they hold my hand. And they say, please stay a little more while. And that's why I get late. It's very difficult for me to, you know, show them off and come to the class. See, you now recognize the power of having young people in the community. मैं तो बड़ा हंस के बोलती हूँ, बनाओ, गार्डन बनाओ, पार्क बनाओ, म्यूजियम बनाओ, बच्चे तो सब हमारे ही खेलेंगे, आने दीजिए वक्त, ये तो होना ही है, यहीं से जाएंगे सब, बना लेने दीजिए उनको. So then we have only one competitive advantage, which is this robust population, and even within that in India we have only one competitive advantage, which is people like you and me. इसलिए मुझे नींद नहीं आती है, इसलिए I'm so sure हर वो इंसान जो हायर एजुकेशन में है, एजुकेशन में उनको नींद नहीं आती. You know, जब मैंने कोई एहसान नहीं किया था, जब मैंने अपना वो रूम वॉलंटियर कर दिया था, आप समझते हैं IIM की एक सीट खाली जाती है तो क्या होता है? 500 करोड़ रुपए सरकार ने दिए हैं सर जनाब. बिहार ने 119 एकड़ जमीन दी थी, छीनते छीनते 80 रह गई है. अभी देखना क्या होगा. लेकिन इतना बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट है, एक सीट खाली का मतलब समझते हैं ना? क्यों? जस्ट बिकॉज मुझे कुछ दिन एक छोटे कमरे में रहना पड़ेगा? नो, बिकॉज हमें हर वक्त ये दिखता है एक सीट एक्स्ट्रा मतलब जो 99.94 वाला बच्चा बाहर बैठा है उसको वो राजा बिठा दो. कम विल टीच यू. जब इस साल हमारे पास अभी अपना कैंपस फाइनली बनना शुरू हुआ है, अगेन पीपल टेल मी कि मैं बहुत ज़्यादा बोलती हूँ, अगेन पीपल टेल मी कि मैं बहुत अनरीजनेबल हूँ, अगेन पीपल टेल मी कि बहुत इम्पेशेंट हूँ. मैंने कई बार लोगों से सुन लिया कि अरे क्या मैडम 2015 में तो खुला है, हमारा तो ट्रेडिशन ही 10 साल में बनाने का है. ऐसे प्लीज ऐसे मत बोलिए सर, 15 में था, 5 हो गए हैं, अब finally touch wood, there are 600 labor on job. We are finally constructing 60,384 square meter, roughly at a budget about 411 crores. Work is full going on. we could only barricade the area where the construction is going on, and we are living in some dilapidated places. But we are adding batches every year, doubling them, irrespective. जगह नहीं होती. परसों हमने खाली कराया है एक बड़ा जद्दोजहद के बाद, सालों की जद्दोजहद, और पता नहीं गाड़ी फूटना, हाउस अरेस्ट होना, होम अरेस्ट होना, सब हो जाता है. धरना प्रदर्शन ऐसे कर लो जितना करना है. मैं भी बहू ना कि करा के वोट नहीं करना चाहिए, बट हाँ बहुत कुछ ठीक है. वैसे वे आई एम टोल्ड कि जैसे हम 20 IIMs हैं, तो मेरे को बता दिया जाता है देखिए रांची में तो अभी तक 11 साल में कुछ नहीं हुआ है. ऐसे नागपुर में 2 में हो भी तो गया है ना, वो भी तो देखिए. सिंपल. मेरे को तो 5 में ही बनाना था, आपने 5 के 7 तो कर ही दिया. प्लीज 7 में बनाने दीजिए, प्लीज 7 में बनाने दीजिए, कम व्हाट मे. प्लीज देने दीजिए और लोगों को अपॉर्चुनिटीज. दिस ईयर फाइनली वी इवन लॉन्च्ड अंडरग्रेजुएट. अंडरग्रेजुएट इज अ BBS, इंटीग्रेटेड IPM as we call it, because इस एरिया में बच्चे सिर्फ या तो मेडिकल से पढ़ते हैं या इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ते हैं. अगर ब्राइट हो तो मतलब 2 स्ट्राइक. अब मैं ऐसे ही नहीं कह रही हूँ, सॉरी टू से, गया में नाजरत ने कॉमर्स सेक्शन बंद कर दिया, which is supposedly the most prestigious school in Gaya. They closed down the commerce section. So the brighter students only study science. I said, what about the other brighter ones who want to study commerce? Well, I said, okay, fair. We can't go to K-12 school education, but let's try and give opportunity to at least those who have finished 12th. So at least in the entire north and east area of the country, let's try and give a good, robust undergraduate in business and commerce. We were to start with 150, but क्या करें, हॉस्टल नहीं मिला तो चलो कोई बात नहीं, 60 से ही शुरू. But अगर अपने और 2 महीने बाद में मिल गया हॉस्टल, तो हम दिन रात काम करके 150 ले लेंगे. और ये जुनून सिर्फ उन बच्चों के लिए है. इतने सारे हैं यहाँ पर, इतने ब्राइट हैं, इतनी शिद्दत से माँ पढ़ाती हैं. मैंने नहीं देखा इंडिया के किसी और हिस्से में माओ को अपने बच्चों के साथ इतनी मेहनत करते हुए. जुड़ी रहती है एक बिहारी माँ अपने बच्चे के साथ, किडनी बेचने को तैयार हुआ रहता है एक बिहारी पिता अपने बच्चे की एजुकेशन के लिए. कितने सारे ऐसे इंस्टेंसेस आप सुनते हैं. तो क्या हमारा इतना भी नहीं बनता इस स्टेज को? थिंक टैंक्स, आई डोंट नो व्हाट इज द रॉकेट साइंस. व्हाई डोंट यू अंडरस्टैंड सच थिंग व्हिच इज रिटन ऑन द वॉल? Only thing which we need to do it right is education. Sorry, look at the stereotypes. National newspaper में आते थे ना कि वो लंगूर की तरह चढ़ के कुछ चीटिंग का. बट अगेन आज जैसे मैं सुनैना मैम से मिलना चाहती थी, कहीं आई एम लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू दैट. आई एम टोल्ड कि जैसे अब हम सिंस वी वर लॉन्चिंग IPM, I was interested in when is Bihar board exams getting over, because I was really worried. I said जब no I'll not take names, but जब बाकी सारे इतने पीछे चलते हैं तो बिहार बोर्ड तो कोविड है इस साल. और जब मुझे किसी ने बोला कि नहीं इस साल तो बिहार बोर्ड के एग्जाम CBSE से अभी पहले हैं, तो मैंने अपने मन में गाली बजाई. I don't know who is the person. I'm told some bright IAS officers working. I said, wow, that's a great spirit. That's the spirit. And I think as communities, see, because sorry, I don't know whether I'm addressing bureaucrats or not. I understand they get very cynical because they live in the reality. See, मैं इतना पॉजिटिव क्यों बोल लेती हूँ? क्योंकि मैं यूथ के साथ रहती हूँ. अभी सर आपने बोला था ना कि डकैत, चोर, इन सब के साथ डील कर करके या बहुत ग्रेव रियलिटी के साथ डील कर करके हम लोग थोड़े सिनिकल हो जाते हैं. बिकॉज कितनी कोशिश करेंगे सिस्टम्स को ठीक करने की. हमारे इंथुसियाज्म आता है क्योंकि हम हर वक्त ब्राइट सनशाइन यंग लोगों के साथ रहते हैं और हमारी दुनिया. एंड दैट्स द रीजन आई कीप टेलिंग पीपल, लेट्स नॉट इवन पॉन्डर ऑन व्हाट इट इज. लेट्स पॉन्डर एंड डिस्कस एंड डिबेट ओनली व्हाट इट शुड बी. Current reality, in case it is bad, why should we even focus on that? Because what we focus on, wherever we focus, energy flows, it grows. So if we are, that's the reason this is out. Actually, I should have been doing like this to this. All those grave details about us. About us. If our GDP is not good, if our this is not good, so what? We are youngsters. We'll train them. They'll rule the world. Period. As simple as that. And one seat at a time, one course at a time, one examination at a time. So if this year Bihar board finishes the course on time, those students who are interested in IIM will get admissions in IIMs, because there are 4 IIMs which are taking IIM courses this year. There are enough opportunities being created in the country, and let's just focus on that. So the best officers should go to education department. Best ministers should go to the education department. Best infrastructure should go to the education department. And with lot of clarity. And then, you people also cannot just wash off. You, in your individual, professional, think tank, collective responsibility, make sure that these temples should prosper. These temples should grow at double the speed, because we have so many children to look after. And if we do that, we're done. Simple as that. So, सुनाना मैम से बोलिएगा, बहुत याद करते हैं उन IAS ऑफिसर को. अगर आप कोई किसी को, मुझे नाम भी नहीं पता, this is frankly speaking, नाम की जरूरत भी नहीं है, बस जो भी है बहुत सलाम, बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं आप, करते रहिए. ऐसे हर स्टेज पे हर ऑफिसर, हर एजुकेशनिस्ट करेगा तो हम बिहार को कम रोकेगा. डेटा कहता है, सब कुछ कहता है, और हमें हमारी इस यंग जनरेशन को, हम लोग थोड़े ब्रैश जरूर हैं, हम सीधा सीधा बोलते हैं, हम इतने पॉलिटिकली करेक्ट भी नहीं होते हैं, बट हम पे भरोसा करके देखिए, हम काम करके देंगे, धरती की सेवा करके देंगे. Thank you so much to GTRI for giving me this occasion, and I think I know it's a think time where maybe I don't know whether what I say was appropriate or not, but as I said, this is what we feel, and let's all support all that which is happening good, and if we all collectively will keep doing good, sky is the limit. Thank you so much.